All right, so the USS Gettysburg shot down a U.S. Navy F-18 fighter jet that was flying off of the USS Harry S. Truman Carrier Strike Group on December 22nd of 2024 in the early morning, over the Red Sea. Military officials are calling this an apparent case of friendly fire. Now, both pilots were safely recovered from the water, and according to CENTCOM, they released a statement saying that the Super Hornet was flying, it was assigned to the USS Harry S. Truman. It was flying over the Red Sea when the guided missile destroyer or guided missile cruiser USS Gettysburg fired upon it. They said that, quote, both pilots were safely recovered. Initial assessments indicate that one of the crew members sustained minor injuries. And then they said that this incident was not the result of hostile fire and a full investigation is underway. A Navy official told the U.S. Naval Institute News that the incident occurred around 3 a.m. local time on Sunday or about 7 p.m. East Coast time on Saturday. The Super Hornet was assigned to Carrier Air Wing 1 and was embarked upon the Truman. Now, the CENTCOM statement didn't specify the squadron. The only two-seat FA-18 squadron embarked upon the Truman are the Red Rippers of Strike Fighter Squadron VFA-11 from Naval Air Station Oceana, Virginia. Here's the last video that I've seen that was released from a strike that was being carried out the evening prior to December 22nd. So the strike group is tasked as part of the U.S.-led Operation Prosperity Guardian, which the mission is to protect merchant traffic in the Red Sea from Houthi attacks from Yemen. Previous strike groups and independently deployed U.S. guided missile warships have intercepted dozens of drones, guided cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles as part of their mission. Over the weekend, U.S. forces attacked the Yemeni capital of Sana'a, striking a missile storage facility and a command and control node, according to a statement from CENTCOM that was released on their website and also on Twitter. Here's a picture of what the missiles look like. I'm just kidding. That's not what the missiles look like. But here's the actual video of the strike that was conducted. So on the CENTCOM Twitter page, they said, or on the X page, they said, CENTCOM conducts airstrikes against Iran-backed Houthi missile storage and command and control facilities in Yemen. Tampa, Florida, U.S. Central Command. Forces conducted precision airstrikes against a missile storage facility and a command and control facility operated by Iran-backed Houthis within Houthi-controlled territory in Sana'a, Yemen on December 21, Yemen time. CENTCOM forces conducted the deliberate strikes to disrupt and degrade Houthi operations, such as attacks against U.S. Navy warships and merchant vessels in the southern Red Sea, Bab al-Mandeb, and Gulf of Aden. During the operation, CENTCOM forces also shot down multiple Houthi one-way attack uncrewed aerial vehicles and an anti-ship cruise missile over the Red Sea. The operation involved U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy assets, including FA-18s. The strike reflects CENTCOM's ongoing commitment to protect U.S. and coalition personnel, regional partners, and international shipping. So the USS Gettysburg is home port in Naval Station Norfolk, Virginia, and was assigned to the Truman recently and entered the Red Sea with the carrier last week, according to the U.S. Naval Intelligence News Fleet and Marine Tracker. The commander of the cruiser is the Air Defense Commander for the strike group and is responsible for detecting and defeating threats to the carrier and its escorts. The cruiser has more than 100 vertical launch cells capable of firing missiles capable of intercepting a variety of threats. Officials have not yet disclosed the weapon the crew of the cruiser used in the incident. The USS Harry Truman and its escorts and air wing deployed from Norfolk on September 23rd before entering the Red Sea, and the strike group operated in the Atlantic off Norway and the UK. The following is the complete statement from U.S. Central Command. Tampa, Florida. 2 U.S. Navy pilots ejected safely over the Red Sea during the early morning hours of December 22nd when their FA-18 aircraft was shot down in an apparent case of friendly fire. The guided missile destroyer USS Gettysburg, CG-64, which is part of the USS Harry Truman Carrier Strike Group, mistakenly fired on and hit the FA-18, which is flying off the USS Harry S. Truman. Both pilots were safely recovered recovered. Initial assessments indicate that one of the crew members sustained minor injuries. This incident was not the result of hostile fire, and a full investigation is underway. Now, the big thing that people brought up about this that everybody's been talking about is, what about the IFF transponder, which stands for Identification Friend or Foe? And what the transponder does is it's emplaced in the actual aircraft to basically tell the ships, hey, I'm a friendly aircraft. Don't shoot at me, right? So that way when they're flying around and they're like popping up on the radar, they're like, oh, it's one of ours, right? Now, according to the BAE Systems website, it says IFF technologies are electronic identification friend or foe, air traffic control recognition devices and systems designed to prevent military-friendly fire incidents, detect potential adversary incursions, support operational decision-making, and reduce casualties in the air, on land, and at sea. Now, these were actually introduced during World War II to protect military aircraft from being shot at accidentally by friendly troops when returning from missions. Today's IFF systems apparently have evolved and expanded on the core radar-based interrogation and response signal transponder systems and are now used by military and civilian air traffic controllers. In national defense, identification friend or foe is seen as a combat identification system within C4ISR structures and not only supports mission safety worldwide, but also enhances flight tracking data collection. Also, according to BAE Systems, it says over the decades following their introduction, the electronic IFF technologies mounted or carried on the ground in aircraft and on related platforms, the physical devices have evolved significantly. Newer IFF technologies are built on digital architectures, many reduced in size and weight to support different goals, and user interfaces are simplified. Core IFF technologies currently in use include the following. You've got identification friend or foe interrogators, which are electronic devices that emit an interrogating radio signal at one frequency, prompting an IFF transponder to emit a reply signal at a different frequency, indicating that an approaching aircraft is friendly. The next one is the identification friend or foe transponders, which are transmitter responders mounted in aircraft, naval vessels, and some ground vehicles to identify the craft as friendly by responding to interrogation signals emitted by IFF system interrogators. The next one is identification friend or foe combined interrogator transponders, CITs, which consolidate the functions of dedicated IFF interrogators and transponders into a single unit, specifically for use with modern mobile platforms to identify friendlies and save lives within secure zones. The next one is identification friend or foe cryptographic computers, which encrypt signals being sent by IFF interrogators and encodes replies from corresponding transponders. This makes it difficult for adversaries to steal identification codes to imitate friendly aircraft for executing surprise attacks. And then you've got identification friend or foe emulators, which provide testing of IFF interrogators and transponders, including cryptographic capabilities in multiple modes appropriate to each system. And then lastly, you've got identification friend or foe antennas, which enhance both interrogator and transponder signals. They work with all standard IFF modes and are often integrated to also support other C4ISR systems like secondary surveillance radar and air traffic control radar signals. So a lot of folks are saying that they think that the reason why this thing got fired on was because the IFF technology inside of the aircraft malfunctioned. And if it did malfunction, it wasn't working properly, then that would basically mean it would, like, the ship would get word that, hey, this is not a friendly aircraft. We need to shoot it down before it gets within attack range of the ship, right? Or of the strike group. So that could have potentially been the issue. And a lot of folks I know in the Navy are saying they think that this could have been like the main reason, because if the systems on board the USS Gettysburg didn't detect this was a friendly vessel, they're going to shoot at it. Now, if you combine a malfunction with the IFF transponder or the IFF, whichever IFF that the aircraft had, if you combine that with the Aegis system on these warships, the Aegis system are supposed to be like automated systems that could potentially have just automatically shot at the aircraft without anybody having to do anything. So let's talk about what the Aegis system is. So the first thing you've got is the Mk-41 Vertical Launch System, VLS, which is like the premier launching system for the US Navy and 12 allied navies. Aegis and Mk-41 accomplish any warfighting mission, anti-aircraft, anti-surface, anti-submarine, ballistic missile defense, and land attack. It's integrated with 18 different missile variants, including the anti-air SM-2 and ESSM ballistic missile defense, SM-3 and SM-6, anti-submarine VLA and strike Tomahawk capabilities. The system has conducted over 4,300 successful missile firings worldwide with a success rate greater than 99.1%. And then they've got like laser systems on there. They've got the Helios, which is a high-energy laser and integrated optical dazzler and surveillance, which is a transformational new weapon system with deep magazine, low cost per execution of use, and speed of light delivery and precision response. Through integrating with Aegis, the USS Preble, for example, is the first deployed and operational fielded integrated laser weapon system. It addresses anti-surface warfare and counterintelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance warfighting gaps with the ability to dazzle and destroy unmanned aerial systems and defeat fast inshore attack craft with lasers. The next part of the Aegis system is the Spy-1 radar. By 2040, Spy-1 ships are expected to comprise nearly 1/4 of the U.S. Aegis fleet. Spy-6 radar. As the combat systems engineering agent for the U.S. Navy, Lockheed Martin is integrating the Spy-6 air and missile defense radar. Coupled with Aegis System Baseline 10 and Ballistic Missile Defense Baseline 6.0, Spy-6 will be fielded with DDG 125. Then you've got the combat system, the Common Source Library. The Navy must have integrated capabilities faster than ever before to meet the increasing global threats to our national security. Lockheed Martin's transformed the way where they operate to deliver Aegis combat system engineering agent products as quickly as the U.S. Navy needs them and at the speed of relevance. They utilize automating tools and are collaborating with their extensive network of critical partners, which ultimately results in drastic reduction of development time for delivering mission-critical capabilities. Then they've got the Surface Electronic Warfare Improvement Program, or CWIP, which is an integrated shipboard combat system that provides a full suite of next-generation electronic warfare capabilities. CWIP is also fully integrated into the Aegis combat system, and the data provides a complete picture of the threat environment. Now, the M60 aircrew, that's not necessarily automated, but they do have the Advanced Off-Board Electronic Warfare, which is a pod that provides anti-ship mission detection and electronic attack response to detect, track, and deter incoming threats. They can mount that, I'm assuming, onto the helicopter. So that's like what the Aegis system is. So long story short, the Aegis system helps enhance the capabilities of the warship and of the Navy's fleet, and a lot of it is automated because an automated system that's directed by computers is going to be able to compute things and do things much quicker than a human mind who has to think through things. Now, if the transponder piece wasn't connecting or interfacing with the Aegis system because for whatever reason one of them malfunctioned, that could have possibly been the reason why this happened. So obviously they're doing a full investigation, so there's no way to tell specifically what caused this or which thing failed. But one thing's for sure, there's going to be a big investigation on this because as of 2020, one F-18 costs $66 million. $66 million for one jet. So, here we go. Because this is a lot of money. Now, as far as the cost of the F-18, according to articles from 1977 released by the U.S. Government Accountability Office, each original F-18 Hornet came in at about $13 million in 1977. If you adjust for inflation, that puts the cost of the current Super Hornet at around $72 million. And that's without considering all of the updated technology as well as the different materials used for the fuselage. There are a lot of different variables that dictate what the cost of this thing is going to be. Estimates from 2023 list the Naval Strike Fighter at $55.7 million. It's likely that the real price is higher than that as the original package, including 20 Super Hornets. So bottom line is the U.S. Navy accidentally shot down something that is valued at $72 million, which means that they basically lost $72 million. And I've seen people come under investigation for less than $10,000 before. So just to put things in perspective as to how big of a deal this is. And my hope, because I don't want to see anybody get fried. And honestly, I hope that nobody made a mistake. My hope is that what happened is an automated failure from like the computing technology that resulted in this happening. If that's the case, then nobody can get in trouble for the automated Aegis systems reacting because it didn't communicate with the transponder from like the IFF signal. So I'm hoping that's the case, because if it's not, and somebody else was the reason this happened because somebody messed something up, you know, may God have mercy on their soul, you know? So anyway, that's my speculation. I think that this was possibly an automation issue, a computing issue. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you think that this was a human error, or if you think it was a computation error or AI error or something like that. I'd love to hear what all of you think. But either way, this is going to be an ongoing thing, and this is going to be a big deal for a while. And it's been a while since we've had a friendly fire incident of this magnitude. So I will say the one good thing about this thing is the fact that at least both of the pilots survived. So I am extremely grateful for that, and for their families, especially because this happened right before Christmas. So I am very grateful for that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.